still think that your time was right. But anyway, it doesn't matter.
You really need to get your clock reset, okay?
But listen, Trevor has the exact same laugh as my best friend had when he was still alive, but he died of cancer. So now I told you, look at Trevor. I told you he's going to have that look.
I'm sorry to hear about
Speaking
your
of
loss of
having
your
a
friend.
did you get your hair did, Stoner? Looking kind of fresh to death over there, bro.
Why would I do
Yeah,
that?
we went over this. You don't ask if someone gets a haircut. You just tell them their hair looks nice.
Stoner, your hair
Covers
looks
all the
amazing.
ground. He does look nice. What are you trying to look good for, Stoner?
I can smell the cologne through here. You smell good, man.
My hero's going to be on today.
Yeah, EB is coming on if you hadn't heard.
From the
Getting ready to start the stream here in just a moment. It would actually be better if someone would have switched us over and properly put the...
Thomas is in. Touchdown, Washington. Lofting one. He's got a man. It's McLaurin in stride. Touchdown, Washington. He's it back. Chase Young. They're chasing him down the sideline. And Chase Young has a Washington touchdown.
And he does he's like, come on. That makes me laugh every time.
That deserves a wow.
Greetings and salutations. Welcome to the day after reckoning here on Ref the District. I'm Nathan Perry. Here with me, it's the Stoner with his fresh haircut.
Thank you. Good to see you, boys. Been a while.
And of course, we got Trevor here as well.
What is popping? How is everybody doing on this Monday evening?
I would be doing better if yesterday resulted in a W. Stoner, at least Trevor, we didn't have to watch the game at a Buffalo Wild Wings.
Oh, honestly, he wasn't even there before the show. I learned it was Dave & Buster's instead.
Ooh, Dave & Buster's. I don't know if that's actually better. I think that might be worse.
Well, I had to go somewhere because I was stuck somewhere in the middle. Like if you look at those maps that they have for the
coverage maps,
the coverage maps, I was somewhere like right on the line of getting the Washington game. And sure enough, I look at the TV, it's not on. So I figured I had to go somewhere. So I went to Dave & Buster's. Would have gone to Buffalo Wild Wings, but they didn't open on time. So I ended up at Dave & Buster's. Their loss, because I spent a boatload of money there.
On games or refreshments?
On adult beverages. I spent a fair amount, correct.
What, about the same you probably would have paid had you gone to the stadium?
They're pretty close price. It's almost sad how much the prices are just to get a drink at a bar nowadays. It's ridiculous, as a matter of fact.
Well, we got several people joining us right now. So we got Matthew Peitzman, Jazzy Perry, and DMV Sports Zone all in the chat. So we do stream this live the day after reckoning, the day after the Washington football team plays on our YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook accounts. And then you can find the audio on the podcast platforms. We'd like to go over what happened the day before. And just, let's start off with our overall feelings. Like how did you feel walking away from the game yesterday?
I just want to say real quick before we get into that, on the opening segment, it said we were reviewing the Baltimore game of preseason week 3. We are not. We are reviewing week 1. Yeah. Regular season week 1 game against the Los Angeles Chargers, just for anybody who's watching.
We're not perfect.
Some confusion there.
But now, overall feeling about the game yesterday. Disgusted, actually disappointed.
Mm-hmm.
All season long, you heard since last year, defense. Well, we might have only allowed 20 points, but we allowed a bunch of yards.
They still held them to 20 points. I think, unfortunately, The problem is that they're 15 for 19 on third downs, right? So they didn't get off the field enough. I know a lot of people will point to the fact that the offensive production wasn't good, so they were tired. I mean, you saw a lot of the times you're just seeing people being taken out. There's a lot of third downs where Sweat and Chase Young were on the sidelines. You don't want those guys sitting on the sidelines.
Nah.
So, yeah.
And we didn't touch the quarterback enough, which was disappointing too. So
how about you, Stoner?
Well, I mean, we're going to have EB on here in just a little bit from the Junkies. And he said something last year that really resonated with me and resonates with me every day. I am amazed at my amazement, right? Why am I always amazed that the team does not live up to what everybody thought that they would be? I shouldn't be amazed at that anymore, but I'm amazed at my amazement.
Well, this year we actually, the fact that we actually had hype going into this year is different. Right. We haven't had this much kind of excitement in a long time. And so this one, we set ourselves up for that letdown. You're right. Every year, we get into the fans get into that and that feeling, and we just, we let ourselves down with some kind of, early loss. If it's not game one, it could be game two. But game one loss, definitely disappointing. Not something you want to see as a fan. And it just felt deflating, right? You lost QB1 fairly early on, about 9 minutes in, or, about 7 minutes into that second quarter, that Fitzpatrick goes out. While he's on the ground, the fans are cheering for Taylor Heineke.
Disgusting.
Not a fan of that.
The trainers didn't even make it on the field yet, and the crowd was going crazy. And also what I think is what's most frustrating about these games that we lose like this is we beat ourselves. It's not like they did anything crazy special to be like, oh, they dominated us. The fumble right there in their territory after the nice interception, the third down conversions that we let them have. Like, we beat ourselves in all these games that we can easily possibly contend and win with.
Well, I'll have to disagree with you on that, Trevor, in that Justin Herbert beat us yesterday. Him and him alone. He beat us up and down the field. Let me just say this. So everything that we had concerns about going into this game from the preseason, we had concerns about the defensive backfield, right? Those concerns were not alleviated. We had major concerns about the linebackers. That was not alleviated at all. We had concerns about the offensive line, a rebuilt offensive line. Those were not alleviated. We had concerns about who was going to replace, who would replace Curtis Samuel as your number 2 weapon. So that was not alleviated in any way. And the biggest concern, of course, was about the quarterback position. So that obviously was not alleviated. So all the questions that we had going into this season, and nothing was solved. Nothing helped us feel better about where this season is going. Now, let's not get crazy. Let's not have like a referendum on the whole season that the season's over and all that. But as EB will tell you,
overreaction Monday.
Well, as EB will tell you when he comes on, if they lose Thursday, then we can just throw it all away.
I said that too. If we lose Thursday, then it's panic time.
It's panic time.
So we'll talk about that Thursday game come Wednesday's show. Let's continue talking about this game that would just happen just yesterday. I disagree with that it was Herbert that beat us. Really, the game plan. So I think Tay and Todd had a great tweet and video out about this. So if you can go follow their content, they create some great content. Every single one, well, maybe not every single one, but the vast majority of those third downs were made on man coverage, where the offense was in like bunch, which are meant to be man beaters, right? Like, they're meant to beat that man coverage. So I think the game plan was their game plan was much better than the vanilla defense that was given out there. Now, I'm not going to absolve the players of all their wrongs doings, because Lord knows that people were not in the right position. Bostic, I'm tired of seeing Bostic in coverage.
Like, you weren't just going to do that.
Who wasn't going to do that?
You just said you were going to name the players, and then you just Bostic.
Yeah,
but it's true though.
There are certain players. I said I'm not going to absolve them. Like they definitely earned some blame here, right? So Chase Young, one of the premier talents that we have on this team, he's been called a generational talent, and I'm seeing him being uplifted one-on-one, and that's not something you want to see.
No, you do not want to see that at all.
Yeah, yesterday was really, as we said, it was really disappointing. Of all the hope that we had going into the first game, and here we are once again in the exact same position that we always are, which is who's our quarterback. What was that graphic that somebody on one of the DC TV stations had, and he put like that Zoom chat?
Darren Haynes.
Yeah, he put that Zoom chat up there, and he had 32 different starting quarterbacks.
32 different quarterbacks
since 93.
Yep.
In 22 years, you have 32 different starting. I mean, that's why we are where we are. We all know that the quarterback is why we are where we are.
I mean, Keenan Allen even said it in his post game. He told Chase Young supposedly, if you guys are in man coverage, you guys are going home. And we came out in man coverage.
And we went home.
Stayed,
and we went home. That's right.
So
and it was over.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just quite disappointing. I'm real excited to hear what EB's going to say. I know he's probably tired about talking about it. He talked about it for 4 hours this morning, and he's probably talked about it with his friends and all that all afternoon, and he's probably just really tired of it. But we're glad he's going to be able to join us and talk about it with us.
In fact, why don't we just go ahead and bring on the man, the myth, the legend himself. We've got Eric Bickel. That's EB, better known as EB, straight here from the Junkies. I'm going to make sure that he gets the big screen on us. Thank you for joining us, EB, here on Ref the District's day after reckoning.
No problem. How's my audio? Okay.
It sounds great.
Okay, good. Good. How are you guys?
Doing fantastic, EB. And Trevor and Nathan here, they graciously allowed me to take the first minute or so to fanboy it up a little bit before we get into the game and talk about the game.
All right.
So I've been listening to the Junkies since 2007, but I'm a podcaster. Unfortunately, I don't help your ratings at all.
If you listen within the first 24 hours, it helps.
Oh, okay. Always. Every time. Like I've already listened to today's show.
Nice.
On the podcast. But I was listening since 2007. And it was when I first got a real iPod. You remember those iPods,
Sure.
like with the little dial and the 3.5-inch screen? And I got one of those for Christmas, right? I know, right? And I was in Germany at the time. And I got one of those, and I said, well, let me listen to some podcasts. Let me figure out the whole podcast game. I've been hearing about this. So I remembered you guys from a previous assignment in the DC area. And so I looked them up, and I said, oh, there you go. There's the Junkies. And this was February of 2007. Then I found out you guys had just started podcasting in like January of 2007. So, of course, I went back and listened to all of that.
Nice.
And this is this is not an exaggeration. This is the God's honest truth that since that time or ever, I've listened to every single segment that the Junkies have ever posted. And that's not an exaggeration.
That's strong.
And I think I might be the only person on earth who can say that.
For sure.
For sure, right? But you've gotten me through deployments. You've gotten me through living in Germany and living all over the world. And
I really
thank
appreciate
you,
that.
EB.
No, thank you. I really appreciate that because, look, at the end of the day, we're just four local guys that, have a pretty good chemistry. And because of guys like you, we've been able to kind of fake working for 25 years.
Yeah.
So we wouldn't have our lives. We wouldn't have this job if it weren't for guys like you. So I am more grateful than you can imagine. I really do appreciate it.
Yeah, fantastic. And last thing before we go on to talk about the game, I live in the town that you guys joan on more than any other town in the country.
I don't know what that could be. I mean, Laurel, Pasadena,
getting closer.
I
know
Glen Burnie.
A little
Those
bit
are all
closer.
good ones. Those are all good ones to make fun of.
I mean, Baltimore.
Close.
That's
I live in Dundalk.
Oh, well, God forbid.
Right, see? Yeah, right. So I live in Dundalk, but I have to defend my town, which is I've got a beautiful spot right on the Chesapeake Bay. It's like how Valdez talks about the Magathie and where his parents live. There are nice spots in every town.
Let me tell you something.
Nice spot.
I don't want to get into it, but I'm very fed up with where I live, and Valdez keeps telling me I should move out to that area.
To Pasadena?
To the Dina, that whole area. He said, you would love it. Nobody cares. You just live your life.
That's right. That's right.
So I'm all about it.
All right. So let's get to enough of all that. Let's get to the game.
All right.
And we heard this afternoon, obviously, that Fitz is going to be out for who knows, 6 to 8 weeks, maybe even the whole year.
Yeah.
Who knows? What I know you're a Heineke guy, and I know you're a Kyle Allen guy as well. You're kind of like all three guys.
I was okay with all three guys. Yeah.
Yeah. So where does this team go from here at the quarterback position as far as the success of what Heineke can do?
Well, I think it comes down to if he can stay upright. If he can stay upright, I personally think he can do the job. I know guys like Lurch, he can't think outside the box. He thinks, he was undrafted for a reason. But I think Taylor has skills, and the skill set that he has are those that are most important. What are we most drawn by when we grade quarterbacks and we evaluate them? We want guys from a big program. All right, that makes a lot of sense, but okay, you don't have to be. We want like 6'4", look like Adonis, big arm, could throw it through the uprights like Kyle Bowler. But you know what I think are the most important attributes? Smart guys, poise under pressure, gamers, guys that can move around a little bit, guys that can guys that can read defenses, guys that know where people are supposed to be, guys that can freelance. And I actually think all of those skills are what actually make a great quarterback. He has. Now, is he going to be able to stay upright and withstand the beating? He's got a smaller frame. Drew Brees did, but Drew Brees didn't run around like Taylor. So if he can find a way to protect himself, I'm not going to say, okay, now I'm going to readjust my win total because we don't have Fitz here. I'm not. Now, if the defense doesn't play any better, I'll adjust my win total. But I'm not going to do that simply because Taylor Heineke's under center.
Now, you mentioned about Taylor's ability to stay healthy and the fact that he runs around a lot. Were you impressed with his ability, as the game went on, where he made smarter choices? He was dumping off the ball. He was running out of bounds. That's something I don't feel like we saw last year. Did you feel like that was a change in his game plan, or do you feel like he was still taking too many risks?
No, I thought he played like I thought he would play. I thought we saw that in the Tampa game. I was not surprised at all. Look, here's how you're going to beat Taylor Heineke if he stays healthy. You got to force him to beat you from the pocket, right? That's obviously not his strength. He doesn't have that big arm. I think he can make the right reads, but I don't necessarily think he has that arm strength to just stand there and beat you all day. If they can find a way, and I'm not a coach, I never played football, although I did beat the Divas and I was the MVP.
Right.
If they can find a way to spread out the guys and give him that ability to step up in the pocket and pass or run or maybe throw that shovel pass, just freelance and be creative, they'll be successful. If he's forced to stand there, kind of like he was in that first series, right? He comes in there on second down, and all of a sudden he has to make those sort of awkward throws from the pocket, on second and long, third and long. They're not going to win that way. But if they can find a way, and teams are going to try to keep him in the pocket. They know that. I'm just a dummy from Kensington, and I know that, right? So they're going to try to find ways to keep him in the pocket. Scott Turner's job is going to be now, how am I going to play chess with that and find ways to move him around, to find space, and so this kid can make plays on the run. He's not a guy, and I've said this for 2 years now since I've seen him. I'm not surprised that he didn't look great in practice against Ryan Fitzpatrick. That's not who he is. He's not a big, strong guy that's going to impress you. That's why he went to small college. That's why, he wasn't drafted, right? But what is he? He's a gamer. I've said it 100 times, but when his college coach said, this guy is so smart that he's the only guy I've ever coached, and the guy's been around for like 30 years. He's the only guy I've ever coached that could go through 5 reads, and he knocks off 2 of them before he even snaps the football. That's the kind of ingredient that you need to be successful. Personally, I've seen enough. I think he can win. Do I think he's great? No. Do I think he can win? Yes. Now, can he stay healthy? Most people think he can. I had a conversation with Brian Mitchell today, and I'm sure Brian said it on his show. Brian doesn't think with his style of football, his body will survive. Brian knows more than me. If you can find a way to slide, if you can find a way to get out of bounds, right? I'm sure he slides better than Robert. I guarantee he does. If he can find a way to protect himself and still be mobile, I think he can do this job, and I won't be surprised.
So, EB, we're going to switch to the defensive side of things now. So, Ron Rivera mentioned how a lot of people on that side of the ball were out of spaces, not filling the gaps, filling the wrong gaps. I'm looking at the linebacker core. Do you think we move the guys around to different spots in the linebackers position, or do we go out and look for free agents to add to that? Because our linebacker core was lost a lot yesterday.
Well, that's not – I've been talking about it all off season. I said this defense – first of all, the defense is good, right? On paper,
yeah.
The front 4, you look at that and you go, how do they ever give up anything? They upgraded the back end. I'm still not sold on Landon Collins. Obviously, he's good in the box, but, he's kind of easily exploited outside of that. But I've looked at that linebacking core for 2 years now, and I go, that's a weak spot. That's a big time. And I'm just a dummy, and I can see that.
Just a fan.
Yeah, I'm just a fan, and I can see that. I love Cole Holcomb in the sense that he's another sort of undersized guy. He's got a nose for the football. He deserves to be in the league. I'm not sure he's a starter, right? I think he's a perfect backup role player. Bostic, I think I'm sure he's smart. I'm sure he knows the game, but I'm not quite sure that there's enough plays there. I probably got a little too much, wear and tear on him. And Jamin Davis, from my dumb eyes, has been a 0 so far. An absolute 0. Now, I don't know why they're playing him in the middle linebacker spot when all the highlights I saw. Did I watch him in college? No. Did I watch the highlights and the packages and what they showed and said this is what impressed us? He was in coverage. He was supposed to be the guy covering the tight ends, right? He was supposed to be the guy in space making plays. He's not a thumper. What are they doing? I don't understand it. Now, am I smarter than the coaches? No. But I don't understand it. I'll say that. Yeah. I don't understand it.
There's a lot of
rotations was in
coverage
on that 3rd and 16 that they made. So that to me is a
lost
big question
in coverage.
Mark. He was lost in that coverage.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm not good enough to know.
Can we talk about that last drive that they had, and specifically the Ron Rivera decided to punt on 4th and 7 from the opponent's 40 with almost 7 minutes left. And there's a lot of talk about whether or not they should have punted. Well, you got one side, you punt because you trust your defense, or you don't punt because as much as you trust your defense, they've been getting ripped all day today, so you shouldn't trust them. But they had all those chances on that last drive. They had a 3rd and 16. They had a 3rd and 7. They had a 3rd. I think they had 4 of them on that last drive, 3rd downs. And Justin Herbert just converted them. Do you think that's a product of they just got outplayed, or is that a product of the scheme that Del Rio / Ron Rivera are running?
I'm not smart enough to know.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not either. I'm just trying to find answers.
No, I'm not sophisticated enough to know, but I do know that they got outplayed.
Yeah.
And is it because they were out schemed? They probably were. There's a part of me that feels like Ron and Jack are some old school tough guys, old school football guys. And I'm not Mr. Analytics, but I'm not sure if there might not be a better blend that we might be able to work into this. I'm not sure that we're playing optimal 2021 football in terms of I mean, I go offense and defense, man. I'm not sure I'm seeing enough motion. I'm not sure defensively if I'm seeing enough blitzes. I'm not sure if we're making the right decisions on 3rd and 4th downs. I'm really not. I get a sense that we just got some old school football guys that go, 4th and 7, we're going to punt. I mean, I don't know.
Right.
I don't know.
Ron's come out and said that he's not a big fan of the analytics, right? Like
I don't want to overvalue analytics because I get annoyed by that too. But there has to be a blend, and I'm not sure where we are on that. So, but again, I don't know anything. I'm just telling you my instinct, my gut, right?
Taylor Heineke is somebody who you like. Obviously, kid's got a lot of moxie. What's another player that's passed the eyeball test for you?
There are quite a few of them. I actually like the team. I was very disappointed in what they put out there yesterday. I like Kyle Allen. I think I'm the only guy in town that won't throw up if Kyle Allen has to play.
Yeah,
now,
I was looking for him to be QB too.
Do I think he's great? No. But do I think last year he showed that he can be effective running this offense that he knows very, very well? Yeah, I think he could do it. Would I rather have Justin Herbert? Of course. Of course I would rather have him. But I don't think just because you're starting these journeyman guys, do I think we need a franchise quarterback? Yes, I do. But do I think we should just lay down and lose everything because we're starting these journeymen? No. I think these guys are professional players that can do the job that's asked. They can play at an average level, and they have enough talent at the other positions that can help carry them, right? When they signed Logan Thomas, I'm telling you I was the first guy that said, I like that signing. That guy's an athlete. He's a big kid. He's been in the league for 7 years. I like that signing. And he blew up. And people mocked me. People on my own show mocked me. I like Terry McLaurin. Everybody does, right? I think De'Ami Brown can help this team. I think Cam Sims, if given – now he was only on 2 plays on offense, so obviously they're not planning on him right now. But if they gave him an opportunity, I think Cam can make some plays. Do I think Cam's special? No. Do I think he can help the team? Yes.
Yes.
So I think there are guys that, by and large, I like. I think we can win with this crew if we're coached right and we're schemed up right and we don't shoot ourselves in the foot.
So Thursday night, is that a must win or is that just
it's kind of a must win. And I know that sounds disgusting, but you look at now it's different, right? Because now we have 17 games. So now you get a little more breathing room, okay? But traditionally, teams that start out 0-2, okay, they're very much behind the 8 ball in terms of going to the playoffs. All right. Now we've expanded the playoffs a bit, right? So there's maybe one extra team. So maybe it's a little less lethal than it used to be. But if you want to have a winning season, if you want to win your division and not be the embarrassment of the league by having 7 wins, if you want to actually win the division, have 9, 10, 11 wins, you can't lose to the Chargers and the Giants and expect to get there, in my opinion. You got Josh Allen coming up. You got Matt Ryan coming up. I don't want to hype up Jameis, but you saw what he did this weekend. He's obviously still got some game left in him. You got Pat Mahomes coming. I guarantee you Aaron Rodgers is going to be on a tear after that embarrassing performance yesterday. You got Tom Brady coming into town. You have Dak Prescott twice. You saw what Jalen Hurts. We have a legit murderer's row of quarterbacks coming into this town. You tell me how we start out 0-2 against the Chargers and against Daniel Jones and get there. It's hard. It's hard to wrap your head around it.
At home as well. It was the first 2 at home.
And one of those a division
Not saying
game.
it's impossible, but I'm saying it's pretty close. Looks hard.
Now I'm kind of leading the witness here because I already know your answer to this, but I just want you to tell these guys. So I'm cheating a little bit. But we have this argument all the time because it's me against those 2. It's the same.
I think I know what's coming.
That if you had to redo the 2020 draft, you would take Justin Herbert, knowing what you know now. You said, at the time, you've said this many times. At the time, Chase Young was the right choice. We had no idea. I even said Justin Herbert was going to be terrible. He's going to be trash.
The entire league, every talent evaluator that I'm aware of missed Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
They had him in the first round, but if they thought he was this good, they would have taken him 1 or 2.
Yeah,
They
exactly.
Yeah.
And if you had to do it again, you would take Herbert instead of Chase Young.
1 minute after he was drafted, go to my Twitter feed because I got assaulted. I got canceled. 1 minute after he was drafted, I went to the same high school as Chase Young. I'm a proud DeMatha High School grad. I love Chase Young. I said at the time, go to my feed and read the cancel. I said, if Tua, because Tua was the talk at the time, if Tua turns into Russell Wilson like they were comparing him to on the highlight packages, that's going to be a monster miss. That's going to be a huge whiff. Now, does that mean anything derogatory about Chase Young? No. Do I think Chase Young's going to make multiple Pro Bowls and have a shot at potentially being a Hall of Famer? You wouldn't know it after yesterday, but notwithstanding, do I think that? Yes. But if there's one person that says they'd rather have Chase Young than Justin Herbert, and they say that today, they're a fool. They're a legitimate fool.
Sorry, I had to set you guys up with that because I already knew what he was going to say. I already knew the answer.
There's nobody in the world that can say that. The only reason why you're pumped for Chase so much, and he, again, went to my high school, I have an unwritten brotherhood with the guy. Quarterbacks greater than defensive end. They just are. It's not a shot. It means nothing against Chase. Chase could be Lawrence Taylor. And if you have a Hall of Fame quarterback opposite it, you missed. You whiffed.
That's fair. I would have to say
fair.
after yesterday's game.
It has nothing to do with Chase.
He
It's
makes
the
it sound way
position.
better than you do, Stoner.
Yeah, I know, right? He can get
We
it
can
out
buy
better
into
than I can.
EB's argument. Stoner's been trying to make this argument for the last 4 months. And
Preseason week 2.
we're just not
you
for
guys
it.
are local. I can tell you're homers. You love the team, right? I get it. I love the team too, but you got to be able to separate yourself and say quarterbacks greater than defensive ends. They just
Mama Stores doesn't agree with you.
That's
Mama
my
Stores
mom
on our
right
YouTube channel. She's a big Chase Young guy. Not really for his play on the field. It's more for
love him.
physical
I love him.
appearance.
Yeah, that's more of a physical thing for my mom. It has nothing to do with football at all.
all right.
So
I mean, yeah, he's an
disregard
attractive
that.
guy. Yeah, I get it.
That's right. Oh, geez.
So let's get back to yesterday's game. We've talked a lot about we found out some of the guys that do impress you. We know that Landon Collins is one of those guys that's not really there for you. Bostic is another one that's kind of rough. Let's go to the trenches. You got the first 4 on the D line that on paper super impressive. Let's go to the other side of the ball, that offensive line. How did you feel about the offensive line yesterday? And do you think that adjustments need to be made there? Was dumping Moses the right choice? Is this all just hindsight's 2020?
Again, I don't want to act like I'm an expert. I'm not an expert. But the offensive line struggled. We all saw it. Now, Cosme, that's a pretty tough first opening day matchup, right? You got to go against Bosa. So I think he'll probably be okay. Was I okay with them moving on from Morgan Moses? Yeah, I was okay with it. I mean, I think Morgan was solid. And what I love about Morgan, and we had him on the show for several years, is Morgan, he played hurt. He went out there and he played hurt and didn't miss that many games, if any, right? That guy put his body on the line and probably deserved a little bit more thank you from Washington. But, he wasn't perfect. I was okay with moving on from him. And I think Cosme will be okay. The other guys, Sheriff is a tough one for me because everyone loves Sheriff and I only see flaws. Not to say that he's not good. He's good, obviously. But, everyone loves him so much that when he jumps offside a couple times or when he has a penalty, it always irks me and sticks with me. He's far from
some
perfect.
costly penalties just yesterday.
Yeah, he's far from perfect, but, he's the best we got. The other guys, I don't know. Leno, don't ask me. That wasn't a good performance. Our center is whatever. Here's what's shocking. And, again, I'm not an analytics guy. I'm just a guy that watches a game and, it just yells at the TV. That offensive line last year was ranked somehow 6th in football by Pro Football Focus. So they certainly didn't perform like that yesterday. I look for them to be better. I think the Chargers are better than we thought. I knew Herbert was good. He's better than I thought.
Yeah, same.
So I think, look, I'm very down. I think they're going to beat the Giants on Thursday, and I think we'll have some new life. And, we'll get out of sort of this hole that we're digging for ourselves. But I don't know. I don't know if I answered your question.
No, I think that's fair. I think that we need to see more from the offensive line. You're right.
I think they'll play better.
They weren't impressive yesterday, but it was a tough task. You're right. Boza as Cosme's first one, as much as we, talked about the fact that he's going up against Sweat and Chase Young in practice, game is different. And Boza made if you mentioned PFF, right? So they graded him horrible in that pass protection, but in run blocking, Cosme was a beast. So, I think that there's the potential that's there. I think that they need some more time and they need to get coached up. And I think a lot of what that higher grading was last year was you saw a lot of the dinking and dunking because the quarterback play, they didn't have strong arms. So you needed to see that. So I think really now that Taylor Heineke is the guy, Scott Turner has an opportunity to make, that game plan for him, and we'll start to see hopefully some better play because they didn't need to keep him upright. Otherwise, they are going to call guys like this one right here, RG3 or Cam. I'm wearing the RG3 today. So otherwise, you're going to have to call those guys, right? I mean, we remember a couple years ago, Josh Johnston, Sanchez. These guys were starting games or playing for Washington because you just couldn't keep a quarterback. And
listen, I like that point that you made, and it's not something that I'd thought of. That part of the reason why they're so highly ranked is because obviously they weren't throwing the ball anywhere, right? They were just dumping it off. So I'm going to steal that point probably tomorrow.
That's fair enough. Just highlight ref the district once for us in the show, so Stoner can get a big old smile, and then we'll be good to go.
So do you real quick, one more thing? Do you think this defensive rotational system that they've got going on? Do you think that should stick? Like, I know you're not. Yeah, I'm like you. We're just fans, but are you a fan of that, or would you rather them do something different? Because that's just a little weird to me.
I mean, I'd rather have Chase on the field more. I mean, what did he play? I didn't see this, but I thought I heard somebody say, was he on the field for 64% of the snaps?
I think it was a lot higher. I think it was like 86%. I think Sweat was like 64.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah.
I'd like both those guys to be on the field pretty much every time. So I would like to maybe limit some of that. But look, first game, hot. These guys need, they need to, rotations. I get it. You want to keep guys fresh. But again, I'm not sophisticated enough to know. But, when you got a big like 3rd and 6 or 3rd and 7, which I think we had at one point, and Chase wasn't on the field, that's not ideal.
Yeah. Well, before we let you go, EB, one more question. You got Ron Rivera tomorrow morning on the Junkies. What is the first question that you're going to ask him?
I don't know, because we're going to have him on every week.
Yeah, so you got to be delicate.
You got to be careful. You can't just and then they're partners with us. And so, I get the sense, too, that he's getting pretty defensive. So I got to be
very defensive.
Yeah, very defensive.
Yeah, the one today, he was not happy with some of those questions today.
Yeah, I mean, no coaches like it after they lose, but I'm really getting the sense from him he doesn't like to be challenged. I don't know if anybody has asked. I personally am not a Cam guy. Did I love Cam in the prime of his career? 100%. Loved the story. Loved him at Auburn. Loved what he did with Carolina. But something happened to him. He's broken, right? He had those surgeries. He didn't throw the ball right. I mean, again, I'm not a quarterback guru. I kind of am, but he doesn't seem like he's throwing the ball right. I mean, can he still run and pound the football and score from the goal line? Sure. The guy's like an Adonis, but I'm not a Cam guy. I tweeted this. I've talked about nobody knows Cam Newton more than Ron Rivera. Literally nobody. He's passed on him 100 times in the last 2 years. Why?
Exactly.
So I don't know if anybody's asked him that. He said, we like what we got. Why are you passing on Cam? That might be. I'm trying to work that one out in my brain and see if I can do that. Yeah. Why are you passing on Cam? Specifically, why?
Like
I'm
right
okay
now,
with
especially.
it, but I wish you would just explain it for everyone so that we can move on.
Yeah, no longer have to answer that question. No longer have to hear about it. If he
Just
just tells
say
us why. Just tell
Yeah,
us
just
why.
why. Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm okay with it. If they signed him, I'd be disappointed. Would I want 2015 Cam? Every time. Give him to me, baby. But do I
Right.
want 2021? The guy's put his body on the line. He's not the same guy. He's just not.
That's absolutely fair. All right. Well, we want to thank EB. This is Eric Bickel from the Junkies for joining us here on Day After
Legend.
Reckoning with Ref the District.
Thank
Much
you, guys.
appreciated.
Thank you so much. I do
Thanks,
appreciate
EB.
it.
It was great
All right,
talking
guys.
to you, buddy.
All right.
All
You
right,
have a
take
great
care.
night. Enjoy those drinks.
Cheers.
Cheers. All right. That was EB from the Junkies. I'm going to make the show here back to normal.
You
All
okay,
right,
Stoner?
Vince,
Man.
you good? You good?
Yeah,
You're going to need a
that was
moment.
amazing. That was the best. That was the best interview of my life. That was awesome.
You
I
said
got
the
some
same
hero
thing when I
time.
first joined. You said the same thing when I first show.
Yeah, I was just trying to butter you up a little bit. This is the real deal here.
No,
Man, I'm
that
telling
was dope. Like me being new to this, and like he's a legend in this whole industry, this radio podcast, and so that was
25
dope.
years. They mentioned it. This is their 25th year, right? This is the anniversary.
This is their 25th
year, so.
anniversary they're doing.
He's honest. He's raw. He's honest. He's just a fan like us. So
I loved the Just a Fan thing. So if you guys, we all got the shirts hanging up, but they're all hanging up on the logo side. On the reverse of these shirts, you can see the hashtag Just a Fan.
Yeah.
So we say it all the time. We're not coaches. We're not coordinators. We're not anything other than just fans. And so, we're out here just doing the best we can. Love to do what we do. Let's, though, however, get to what we do like to talk about, which is our team here. And let's go more specifically into our go-gos and no-gos.
Yeah. All right.
So who's a go-go for you there, Stoner? We're going to just do one each. I think that'll be fair enough for this portion of the segment.
My go-go was, you put the fumble aside, Antonio Gibson was a stud yesterday. He did everything that you would want of your number one back. He ran hard. He hit those holes decisively. He averaged 4.5 yards a carry. He got 3 dump offs, and I think 2 of them were for first downs. Nobody said anything about Peyton Barber when they had a 4th and 1, gave it to Gibson, and he popped right into that hole. Except for that fumble, which was absolutely the turning point of the game, he was an absolute go-go.
Trevor, who's a go-go for you?
I'm going to do a quick 2-for-1. Terry McLaurin and William Jackson. Terry McLaurin, even though he had 4 targets, he caught them all, and he literally showed that if you just throw him the ball, he'll catch it. Doesn't matter the angle, the way he has to bend. He's ridiculous.
And then catch number 1 on ESPN's top.
Yes,
the top
yes,
10.
it was.
Was it really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then William Jackson
Ridiculous.
with the interception. That was he's showing that we brought him here for the reason that we did, and he's showing that on Sunday. So I'm pretty high on him. Go-gos.
Yeah, there was a couple of questionable plays for Jackson, but I definitely feel pretty good about him. Mm-hmm. I'm going to put Cam Curl as my go-go. He just seemed like he was always there. He made some impressive stops. He was another one though that they were rotating off quite a bit, and I just didn't understand it. So it was, I
think he was in on like 46% of the plays or something like that.
Yeah,
or maybe
so
it's 56%.
I think they were using a lot of McCain as an actual free safety, and then Curl was kind of in like when you saw him coming off, it was usually a linebacker coming on. So I think they were looking at him kind of that Buffalo nickel that we've heard a lot about in the offseason, possibly like a box safety there with Landon Collins and just McCain playing over the top. So he would have been my go-go. We got Roger in our chat.
Very good point, Roger.
Was really good. No one's giving him props. You're right. I tell you what, he is exciting in the return game. I don't care if he ever catches a pass here for the Burgundy and Gold, because what he's doing on those punt returns and kick returns is legit. Absolutely good point there, Roger, from our chat. Again, we stream this live here on our YouTube channel as well as our Facebook and Twitter. You can join us and we'll call your comments out as we go along. All right, no-gos. Who's a no-go for you besides the entirety of the team?
Star, you go first.
All right. So like,
You're right.
I'm going to do this. It was coming, right?
No.
Chase Young was basically not heard from the whole game. He had a really good pressure on the sack that Jonathan Allen got, but that's it. That's all we really saw him. He was manhandled by a rookie on one side, and then when they moved him to the other side, no, he was not going
early, which they did early on.
Right, which he was not going up against Brian Bulaga or Bulaga, whatever you say his name, who's been an all-pro. He got hurt, so he was going up against a backup and still could get no pressure. Justin Herbert was back there. He would drop back to pass.
Having a picnic.
He would go to Twitter. He would fill out like 5 Washington football team name surveys, right? And then he'd say, "Oh, there's a guy wide open," and he'd throw it down the field, zip it down there. And so because Chase was not getting any pressure, so Chase is my no-go.
My no-go is Kendall Fuller.
Seemed to get picked on quite a bit,
bro. Abused all game. He does not get his head turned around at all. He could have so many more picks or opportunities for an interception if he would just turn his head. But instead, he was getting torched yesterday, and he is not showing what really everybody on the outside views him as which is an elite DB. And I've never seen that since his first stint with us.
Oh no, I think that he's quality. He's quality. Right. I mean, he was good at Kansas City as well. Not good enough that they wanted to pay him the money that Washington did. But
yeah,
I wonder. A lot of people were talking about him being benched. I saw him go to the locker room.
Get benched.
Yeah, I saw him go to the locker room. I think it was more so kind of this conditioning thing that we saw.
Yeah, like 3 players went for that
quite a bit.
Some IVs.
Our EP's in here. She's given Gibson the no-go, and I'm pretty sure that's just the fumble. You can't do that.
You're right.
You can't do that. It's really difficult to give someone praise. I mean, honestly, a lot of the offense was running through him, so that's why he's Stoner's go-go.
Yeah.
But when you have that costly turnover, not only was that costly because they scored, right after that was Herbert's only touchdown of the game was after that fumble on the 3rd yard line or something.
Yeah,
something
3
like
yard
that.
Line,
not only was it there, it was, you've mentioned this, Trev, it was right after the Jackson interception. So you just felt like the momentum was going to start going your way. The fans were getting excited again, and then it just killed it.
Which was like soon after the touchdown to Logan Thomas, right? It wasn't that much. It was
like the same quarter, same 5-minute span or something.
I mean, the stadium was
rocking. You had all the momentum. And then just poof. You're right. So he can be a go-go and a no-go. How's that?
Okay. Fair enough. My no-go, mentioned him before, gonna mention him again. It's Bostic. I just can't. I can't. Again, I'm with EB on this. I know he's a smart guy. I know he's a football guy, but man, when he's out there in coverage, it's just painful. Steve, thanks for joining us here. Addicts are in the house. Love to see you guys there. We're going over our go-gos and no-gos right now. So, actually, I think we're about to wrap that up because I was the.
Let me. I got a question about that. Kendall Fuller was a guy that you're saying, and Bostic and all that. But if they had gotten pressure, it changes everything.
Yeah, you're
about
right.
The back of your defense. If you can get pressure on the quarterback, he's going to make bad throws, and he's going to throw balls up for grab that these defensive backs can then be turned around for, and it makes a totally different defense when you get pressure, and it all starts there. But Herbert was just ping ping. He was doing anything he wanted all game long.
Again, it came down to a lot of that was where people, when you're talking about that man coverage going up against those bunch formations, Lombardi, for an offensive coordinator who doesn't have a lot of it, it's a little bit more conservative, right? He's not going to open it up. He was just calling a better game than Del Rio was. And it cost Washington. There wasn't a whole lot of pressure, but there wasn't a lot of extra blitzes. The blitzes that were being called were, Cole Holcomb was getting blocked. He wasn't getting
Jim
after
Davis
the quarterback. So that's what it came down to. So Steve is saying, cause disruption. Coaches need to scheme that up, put players in position to be successful. Absolutely.
Exactly.
Well, they did make some adjustments. I mean, they, like you said, they moved Chase to the other side because Slater was handling him with no problem. So they tried to move him to the other side, and that didn't seem to help. The thing I don't like about this whole rotation thing, the offensive linemen, they didn't rotate. The offensive linemen for the Chargers, they played every single play except for Bulaga and the guy who replaced him because he got hurt, right? So those guys played every single play. Our offensive line played every single play. Why is it so important that our defensive line rotates? Maybe if you had quality behind them, that would make sense. But as we know that the defensive end, the backups, is not a deep position. So
our linebacker core.
Anytime Chase is out of the game, especially on like a 3rd and 7, you're in trouble.
He started off that last drive holding his helmet on the sideline. I couldn't believe it. I was just like, this is a pivotal drive. You got their offense pinned back at like the 10-yard line. You want to see your star defensive player out there, your reigning rookie defensive of the year, but you didn't.
Honestly,
and so I think some of those things were reason why the team lost.
I started to lose hope and faith, honestly, when they went down on their first drive and scored 7-0.
Yeah, right.
Literally,
We were in for a very long day.
I'm like, this is
They
ridiculous.
moved the ball very easy.
Too easy.
That was scary easy, and I was just like, okay, this is going to be a rough day.
Like, are you
and then
kidding me
they got it back together, right? We were talking bad about the defense. They still only allowed them to score 20 points. But it just wasn't enough. I tell you who actually probably does deserve a little bit of praise, even though he missed that 50-yarders. D-Hop was more consistent than I think anyone wanted to give him credit for going into this.
Way to go, D-Hop. Okay. You passed the week 1 test. You got
past
16
week
more.
1. The 50-yarder, you still got to make those.
Yeah,
your whole job is to kick field goals. You need to. You got to make the field goals. But I tell you what, I was more than pleased. Now, here's the thing, right? So if he would have made that 50-yarder, they would have only needed a field goal to then tie the game. Now they still needed the ball, which they didn't get.
Got to get the ball first.
Defense didn't do their part, but it's still, kind of an interesting challenge there. All right,
do you want to show any of those clips or no?
Let's go ahead. We got to wrap this up because my man Trev's got to get to his next show.
I don't care.
So, you know how it is.
I don't care.
So let's go ahead.
I don't care about his other show. I'm just kidding.
We'll promote it for Trevor.
It's in the contract.
We'll promote it.
I
agree with EP here. It's sad when the fans are praying every time D-Hop lines up for a kick, and we weren't the only ones. The fans around us were. So that was pretty interesting.
I don't know that anybody understands what EP is.
Jazzy, it's Jazzy. It's executive producer. She's.
I don't want to.
They will if they're fans of the show.
But just to top it off, the worst Sunday that we could possibly have, people got dumped on by the sewage pipes in the stands, and that's just the icing on the cake of how Sunday went. So that's all I have to say.
They got into suites after that, though.
Yeah, they did.
They got to meet Jason Wright and Tanya Snyder. I was telling a friend, I would be like, you dump sewage on me.
Yeah.
Bro, I am playing it up worse than a ambulance chasing lawyer. I get to meet Tanya Snyder. I'm getting upgraded to club level for free. My season tickets are paid for.
Well, here's the question. Would you trade, obviously, if it happens to you, you want that. But would you trade that? Would you say, okay, I'm going to go into the game and you can dump sewage on me, and then afterwards I get to go sit up in the suite?
For one game, no.
Yeah.
No. Again, I'm parlaying that. I'm parlaying that into a season-long adventure.
Yeah.
Again, more. I'm playing up more so than an ambulance chasing lawyer. I really would. I'd be like, nope. You got to get me a whole new, we're going to the team store right now. That Chase Young jersey, that shirt right there, those pants. Yep, all mine. Those boxers, socks, cool. You just bought my whole new wardrobe.
I'd go in a team store and I'd say, oh, that Justin Herbert jersey, give me that one right there. Give me that Justin.
Anyway, I have to leave, ladies and gentlemen. I have to exit the broadcast a little early because I would
never, ever
make an appearance on Football Garbage Time.
DollaDolla. Let's get to DollaDolla. I was just kidding.
I know, but yeah, I do have to exit.
He is actually leaving us for real. So he's going to go to football.
I got to get on there 6 minutes till showtime. I got to prep.
Football garbage time. You can catch him. Check out his Twitter. You can see at Trev Stores WFT. He'll tweet out the link for football garbage time. Thanks, Trevor, for joining us as well.
Yeah, he rushing me off.
Oh, no, you gotta go. You gotta go.
I know.
I was going to talk more about the fan experience and how there was a lot of Chargers jerseys there, but you got to move on. So you got to move on.
Way too many, but yeah, I agree. I love you guys.
Hey, remember what Keenan Allen said? Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Love you, Trev. See you, buddy.
Love you guys too.
Steve's on board with me. Steve gets Dan Snyder on his podcast if he gets sewage dumped on him. That's,
by the way, I got a problem with that
Washington football addicts there for Steve.
I got a problem with that word exclusive. Like in this case, it would be an exclusive. But when they had in the pregame show, they had Aaron Rodgers doing an interview, and it was this exclusive. I mean, he's done 100 interviews just in the last week. How is that an exclusive?
That's their exclusive. All right, let's go ahead and move on to DollaDolla.
All right.
So we got to pay up, folks. This is I can't even remember what bets we made.
Yeah, which is fun, right?
Yeah, this is always an exciting thing.
Is Trevor? This is an old one that's still up. Trevor said that Sammis Reyes would be in street clothes for game 1, and you said no way. He's on the active roster, and he was in street clothes. So you owe him $1 for that.
That's fair. But hey, it cancels out because he's a part of the 53, and you both owe me that.
You're right. He was part of the 53. All right. So Alex,
here's a hot take before you go to the next one here.
Yeah.
Here's a hot take. He's suited up next game. He's suited up for Thursday Night Football.
Ooh,
I don't think Ricky Seals-Jones did enough as a move tight end.
He didn't do anything.
He was running routes, but he wasn't doing enough. I think they're going to bring in Reyes because they're going to want that blocker as one to help out the line, and then two because you're going to see probably a lot more Gibson, a lot more running, and so I think Reyes is going to see some playing.
Yeah, that's I hadn't thought about that. I think you might be right on that. I wouldn't bet against it. All right, so Alex from Guilty as Charged, the guy we had on from the Padres, the Chargers podcast last week, he said Keenan Allen would get 100 yards receiving. Did he get 100, or did he have 96?
Exactly 100. I think.
Oh, did he really?
I think he got 100 on the dot.
Trevor said there was no way, so he nailed.
Yeah, that's right. Because William Jackson III had previously locked him up. And I just want to make sure that I'm right here. Keenan Allen, 9 receptions for 100 yards.
Wow.
On the dot.
One. And then he also, I don't know if Trevor said this or Alex said this, that Chase Young would have 1.5 sacks. And Stoner and Nathan both said no way.
Nope.
And I don't even think he had 1.5 tackles. No, maybe he had 2 tackles.
I just closed out. I'll have to bring up the stats again. I did think that he was going to get 1. I thought he was going to get 1, but
the sack or the tackle?
The sack. I thought he was going to get the 1 sack.
No, Jonathan Allen got that one. But he
ended up with 3 total.
Yeah,
1 solo.
But that sack that Jonathan Allen got, that was because of Chase. I mean, Chase pressured Herbert into
there was also he got the holding call that brought back the one play that was a very big play. So Chase had some impact. He's still a no-go for me as well. I just don't, you really needed to see more from him. But
all right, I said Logan Thomas would have 8+ catches.
That not even close.
Nathan said nope.
Did score a touchdown.
He did. And what do you call it? What was that big stat that you and the EP like to use all the time? His catch ratio or something?
Yes.
What is that?
Yes.
Is that what it's called?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, he had 4 targets, 4 catches.
There you go.
So that's 100% so far this year. I don't know who did this because I didn't write it properly, but somebody said that Fitz would have 300+ yards. How about this? Fitz isn't going to have 300 yards the rest of his career. In total, not in a game. I'm talking about total. He's done. I said no, but I don't know who predicted that because I didn't do a good job of writing it.
We don't need to go back and look at the tape or anything. I think that's fine. That's for our $DollaDolla.
Okay, so that was definitely Nathan.
Was that the last one?
Fitz 2 interceptions and a win, and Nathan said no. I think that was Trevor that said that because there's no way I would say that. All right.
I put him down as a no.
So let's look at the score predictions. Trevor had it Washington 27-13. Nathan had it 24-20. And Stoner had it 19-16. But I had Washington winning. I almost nailed the score exactly. I just had the wrong team.
Alex had it at 23-20 Washington. And I really thought that
write that down.
Yeah, so that's what he said. But I really thought if Washington got the ball back, they score a touchdown, it would have been 23-20. And I've been like, I would have been hitting up guilty as charged and telling Alex, I was like, hey, you need to tell me the lotto numbers.
Yeah. So. I think everybody, everywhere you looked, everybody had Washington that game. And that should have been your first clue. It would have been like, when there's too many people are on Washington for this week. All the pregame shows, it was like a sweep all the way across. Washington. San Diego. The LA Chargers are a good team. They're a good football team. I thought they were pretty good last year. And, of course, you guys have heard me say it for 2 years now. Justin Herbert is a top 5 quarterback. He's a stud. He's everything you want in a quarterback. Drew Brees said it on one of the pregame shows. He said Justin Herbert's ball, he doesn't know how this happens. It actually speeds up as it gets to the receiver. And it's obviously like hyperbole, but still, he said he throws such a beautiful pass.
Hyperbole, like calling the sophomore player one of the top 5 QBs in the league right now.
Yeah.
That's a bit.
Justin Herbert is a top 5 quarterback.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. That's the Stoner here on Ref the District.
100%.
So we do stream live. This is Day After Reckoning. We stream these the day after the football games. And so that means we're going to be back Friday for the Day After Reckoning. But you can catch us before that. You can catch us on our normal Wednesday show. We'll be previewing that Giants game. In fact, we have a special guest from a Giants podcast that will be promoting and tweeting out about that. So you can catch us at Ref the District on Twitter, where we also stream this, as well as our Facebook page. Oh goodness, Steve, you missed it. Please go ahead and watch the rewind of this, Steve, as we answer that with EB from the Junkies on the redraft, Chase or Herbert. It was a pleasure having EB on for the show. And you know what? I said we're going to be on Wednesday. You can catch us on any podcast platform. I didn't mention that one just yet. So make sure that you like, subscribe wherever you're at. It helps other people find our content, and we appreciate that. Hey, and until next time, be a fan.
Be a fan.
We love Washington, and we some die-hard fans. Yeah, we are. You know we keep it on 10. 1, 2, 3, let's go. And they gifted. We are Nathan and the Stoner. Yeah, that's Ref the District. Podcast. Come on now and join us. Join it.